First question for Merrill. We'll start with Nick over here on the left side.
Merrill, what can you take from your postseason experience now you got last week and apply tomorrow?
Just try to treat it the same. Obviously, I know it's a different city, different team, different stadium, different fans, but I would say try to treat it just like we've treated every other game in the playoffs so far. Not make the situation bigger than it already is. Keep playing our game. Keep doing what we do well. Not try to go outside our box too much. Just kind of stay where we're at.
In the middle, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sure.
Yeah.
Greg Moore, Arizona Republic. Good to see you. We've talked a lot about the environment and the fans and all that. I'm worried about the cold. Are you guys? How are you guys going to handle the weather?
I think we'll be all right. I think once those lights turn on and that crowd that you're speaking of filters into this stadium, I think the blood's going to warm up pretty quick. That postseason adrenaline hits a little bit differently than it does the regular season. Me personally, I like this weather. I'm a big layer kind of guy. I like hoodies and beanies and all that. So I'm pretty comfortable right now, but it'll probably be a lot warmer come game time just because of the situation.
On the left side, second row.
Merrill, obviously you added this slider a little bit last year and really this year. I know that's, for a guy who's had lots of success with the pitch mix you already had, not always the easiest thing to add a new pitch. What eventually kind of pushed you to introduce that to your arsenal?
I think there were just situations where throughout a game, throughout the last couple seasons, there was a lot of situations, a lot of counts, a lot of at-bats just based on how they went and kind of what pitches were set up when. I just thought a slider would benefit what I do already. I try to kind of play the X game down and away a lot of the times from righties with the cutter and the fastball and the sinker going those directions, and I thought adding something with a little depth to kind of get righties off the other stuff. I felt like there was a lot of situations where I could have used it and it would have benefited me a lot. So there were situations that I got not necessarily burned on, but just the result necessarily wasn't what I wanted, and I thought that a slider would, kind of open those doors.
I know that Strami's a big slider proponent as well. I imagine those are some conversations you guys had over the first year or so that he was here.
Yeah, I think anytime the pitching coach sees one of their guys, trying to implement a new pitch, I think there's probably a little bit of hesitation just at the beginning, just to make sure that I think a lot of times coaches are worried about stuff blending or your body doing different things with that pitch just based on what it's used to doing, what it's used to programmed as throwing everything else that I do. But I think once he saw the potential in it and the shape kind of stayed in between the cutter and the curveball, I think anytime the pitching coach is probably going to be a fan of that, somebody adding a weapon.
So just to clarify, it was originally your idea, not his.
That's correct, yeah.
Down here in the front on the right.
Do you find your experience in the Korean series a few years ago and also the World Baseball Classic prepare you for this type of stage?
Yeah, I think so. Go back to the Korean series that you were talking about. Obviously, their fans they cheer a little bit differently than we do. Each offensive player that comes up to the plate, they have their own fight song. So when it was the championship series, excuse me, it was about 30,000 people in Seoul. About 15,000 of it at a time would be singing in unison for whatever hitter was up, and they don't stop until the next hitter comes up. And then going into the WBC game, I think that I haven't obviously heard this place on the field, but I'd be very surprised if it trumped that Venezuela game down in Miami. When Trey hit that grand slam, I don't think I've ever experienced, at least baseball-wise, I don't think I've ever experienced an atmosphere like that. So I hope that, this isn't louder than that.
The right side towards the middle.
Hey, Merrill, I wonder what this journey that you guys have been on, given your unique journey through baseball, what has this kind of felt like? And to be at a later stage in your career, to be able to have so many of these firsts, I wonder what that kind of has felt like the last few weeks.
It's been fun. I'm just trying to kind of soak it all in. Like you touched on the journey. If you would have asked me, 5, 6, 7 years ago, if I'd be sitting here talking to you guys right now, I don't know if I would have seen that light towards the end of that tunnel. But I'm enjoying it. I'm trying to not take anything for granted. It's been awesome being able to have friends and family come out to Milwaukee and LA, and we have some here as well, to be able to share, kind of like you said, the later part of my career and being able to still have these first, it kind of gives me a little bit more of an energizing feeling than anything. I just turned 35 the other day, but these games will keep you feeling a lot younger.
Jesse on the left.
Merrill, I think it was the 2006 Cardinals that won 83 games in the regular season and went all the way to the World Series. Curious if you guys have drawn any inspiration from them or any other teams.
I don't think so. There hasn't really been any conversations that I've had, at least. I think at the end of the day, we're confident in our abilities, and we trust the guys in that clubhouse. It's been other than a month and a half or however long that stretch was after the All-Star break for us, it's actually been a really good year. If you take the losses and that deep slump that we were in there for a minute, you take that out and you look at the baseball that we've played the rest of the year, we've played good baseball all year. And even though we only did have, 84 wins in the regular season, I think that's the beauty of the playoffs is, you guys talk about teams over the years who just gotten hot, right? There's that saying, that team just got hot at the right time. I'm hoping that's us this year. We've been playing pretty good baseball, and like I said, we're confident that we can continue doing what we're doing.
Jack.
Just something I was thinking about. You missed 4 weeks in the middle of the season for the one issue, and then you really only had to make one postseason start, I think, so far, right? So I'm wondering if you're feeling actually surprisingly strong for this late in the season.
Yeah. Like I said, I think these type of games, even if you're not feeling your best, they definitely elevate that. Like I said, postseason adrenaline is a hell of a drug. But the days off are obviously nice at this point of the year. Everybody's kind of got their aches and pains, but I feel good. Body feels good, arm feels good going into this game, so I'm looking forward to it.
Steve.
I guess I was going down that similar road, but you had to deal with a layoff before you faced the Dodgers as well. Does that kind of help you face the layoff like you did this time for tomorrow?
Yeah, I think a little bit. And throughout the course of our career, throughout the course of a season, there's stuff that comes up, random off days, lack of off days, just maybe trying to get a guy an extra rest if he can. So I think there's stuff that's come up throughout my career. Korea was every 6th day. We had every Monday off every week. So that was a little bit of a space out. But, like I said, if you can't get ready and get excited for these games, even though you've had, however long, 2 weeks off, if it's that long, I think you got something wrong with you if you can't get excited for these type games.
Over here on the right.
Kind of every year you see kind of a pitcher on one of the World Series staffs just got hot throughout that postseason. How does a pitcher kind of pile up those outings and get hot? Is it a feel like hitters get hot? How do kind of pitcher can kind of pile those up?
I don't know. I guess the easiest way would just be to make sure you're executing your pitches. But there's times throughout the year that you're rolling, and there's times throughout the year that you can't figure it out. Luckily, hopefully, you just kind of hit that lightning in a bottle when it counts, and at this time of the year.
Merrill, I guess you played with 3 of the hitters you're going to face this week at the WBC for the USA. Anything that you're able to glean from being around those guys, or what are your impressions of, I guess it's Kyle, JT, and Trey?
Mm-hmm. I definitely don't want to hang Trey a 2-strike changeup, that's for sure. But no, I mean, I feel like those games back then, everything's happening so fast. It's so early in the spring. I was really just trying to enjoy it more than do my scouting at that point. So I don't think there's really any advantage of it. I'm looking forward to it. I had fun playing with those guys. I had fun being on their team. Just said hi to Shore about in the outfield. Asked how everybody was doing. But other than that, once I'm on the mound and once they're in the box, then it's competition as usual.
Any last